What's up guys, today we're going to go over volume training for natural weightlifters. Reps and sets are very important. They can either help you out with losing fat and building muscle, or they can also hurt you. So be careful who you get your advice from, because if they're on steroids, you're not going to get the same results, nor should you be doing the same workouts they are doing. Alright guys, today in this video we're going to go over 6 key tips to help you as a natural weightlifter versus somebody who's on the juice. First thing we're going to do is look at a study. It's basically comparing guys who are on steroids versus not, and seeing what the results are to see if there is a big difference or not. We're also going to go over what is protein synthesis, how protein synthesis affects somebody who is a natural weightlifter, and how it affects somebody who is on steroids. Also, we are going to go over cortisol and how that affects your body, once again, if you're natural or not. And lastly, training intensity. How hard do we need to be training if we're a natural weightlifter? What's the volume, reps and sets? What should that look like if we are a natural weightlifter? This video is very important, especially if you are a natural weightlifter, because all of the fitness advice out there could be steering you in the wrong direction and get you spinning around. However, I'm here to help, and getting in shape is easier than what the fitness industry would like you to believe. It's not that complicated. However, taking advice from you may be taking advice from your own favorite YouTuber, and they may be on steroids, and your results versus theirs are not going to be the same. So if you're doing their workouts and getting burnt out and they may be on steroids, you're not going to get the same results, and you're going to burn out and maybe even just quit and gain your weight back. We don't want that. Let's take a look here from the New England Journal of Medicine, where they took 43 trained men for 10 weeks, and they placed them basically in 4 groups. They put them in a placebo group that didn't exercise, a group of men who took testosterone at 600 milligrams and didn't exercise, placebo natural group that did exercise, and a group taking testosterone that also exercised as well. During this 10-week study, no exercise, placebo group had no change in muscle mass. No shocker there. The group with the test, no exercise, actually gained 7 pounds of muscle. So they did nothing and gained 7 pounds of muscle while on testosterone. The placebo group that did work out gained a whopping 4 pounds of muscle. And lastly, the testosterone group that exercised gained 13 pounds of muscle in 10 weeks. Holy crap, that's a big difference. So you can actually take testosterone and lay around on the couch and Netflix and just binge out on your favorite shows and whatever, but you're still going to gain 7 pounds of muscle by taking testosterone and just laying around. That's crazy. If you're natural and you're busting your butt in the gym and you are working out, 3 to 4 days a week, you're only going to gain 4 pounds of muscle. It's nuts. And then if you're somebody who is on testosterone and you're working out a lot, with the 10 weeks you're going to gain 13 pounds of muscle. So for people who say, oh man, if you're taking testosterone, they're working hard, to get those gains. Well, they probably are working out, but they just don't realize how much easier it is for your body to adapt if you're taking testosterone versus being a natural weightlifter. It's not even close. What is protein synthesis? Protein synthesis is the process where biological cells generate new proteins, and it is balanced by the loss of cellular proteins via degradation or export. It helps the body build muscles and protects from germs and viruses. So protein synthesis is going to be different if you're a natural weightlifter or if you're somebody who is on the gear, and we're going to talk about that next. As a natural weightlifter, it's very important to pay attention to protein synthesis. The optimal window time for protein synthesis as a natural weightlifter is 24 to 48 hours after your workouts, and basically from there your body will try to go back to homeostasis and no more hypertrophy can occur at this time as a natural weightlifter. So what happens if you are banging needles and just curious about your protein synthesis? If you are banging the needles, basically your protein synthesis is going to be ramped up pretty much a majority of the time. And once again, versus somebody who's natural, your protein synthesis is probably only going to be that 48-hour window for it to be optimal. Cortisol is also thought of as a horrible thing that just kills testosterone, while there are many studies that show that it does affect it. However, it does play an important role in our bodies, mainly balancing things such as metabolism, blood sugar levels, things such as memory, and it also reduces inflammation. Cortisol is also thought to have an impact on your blood pressure by controlling the salt and water regulation. It's essentially a hormone to help protect and control and regulate functions within your body. However, if you are somebody who is on steroids, such as PEDs, they block cortisol from attaching to the cortisol receptor. Because most bodily cells have cortisol receptors, it affects many different functions in the body. There you go. There's another reason that if you are on steroids versus natural training, you're just not going to get the same results. So protein synthesis is going to be way different. Your training is going to be way different. And cortisol, which is a main driver in hormones and just functions of your body to keep you healthy and optimal, also plays a big difference as well. So there you have it. So also being on steroids blocks cortisol a lot, if not all of the time as well, versus being somebody who is a natural weightlifter. So there's a big difference there. As a natural weightlifter, you definitely don't want to take every set to failure. It's a horrible idea. I've done that in the past a lot myself. I always thought, getting a pump and feeling the burn and fatigue in your muscles is what makes them grow. While it may have some effect, it's not the main driver of muscle growth. As you want those micro tears, but you don't want to take every set to failure. So if your favorite YouTuber, or if you're picking up the local fitness magazine or reading a blog and they're talking about doing hundreds of sets and reps and crazy, well, it's because they're enhanced and their bodies can do that. If you're natural, your body's not going to be able to keep up with those crazy extreme workouts. Reason being is it's going to crank up your cortisol if you're a natural lifter. It's going to affect your protein synthesis intake, and it's going to break your muscle down, and you're going to be back to where you started, or if not worse. I've been there. Don't do it. So as you get it, high volume training is not great for natural weightlifters. So what you should try to focus on if you're a natural weightlifter is 2 to 3 workouts per week, with doing compound exercises and trying to hit those muscle groups at least twice per week is optimal for building muscle if you're a natural weightlifter. However, you should try to implement taking in at least 1 set to failure. So try your last set to failure for each muscle group. See how you feel. See how you're recovering. Try to give yourself at least a couple days to recover. Something that helps me a lot with recovery, that I like the Aura ring here that I have. I like this guy a lot. It's basically just a little ring with sensors that you put on your hand and sleep with it, and it helps track your HRV. Kind of let you know if you got enough sleep, and if you're ready, just go out there and crank it and start working out. If you're a noob to weightlifting and weight training, you're going to see results really quickly. No matter what you do, you can literally do anything you want, especially if you've just been coming home and binging on Netflix on the couch. You could really do anything with weightlifting. You can do the bro split, you can just work out, and you're going to see some results. Usually within that 6 months range or more, you're going to start to see you'll hit a plateau, and that's when you'll want to change things up and follow this advice here. And then for natural weightlifters, we can expect to hit our genetic potential roughly within 3 to 5 years. So you're not always going to keep stacking on muscle unless you are enhanced. If you guys like watching this type of content, feel free to flex your like and subscribe button, as well as leave me a comment below.